All right, bet. So, hey everybody, let's begin. We just had our second test, right? Excuse me, our first test. Wow, I'm out of it. We had our first test. Still in the process of grading, so I don't have an update for you guys on it, but I'm pretty sure it was good. Like I was scanning at least the first page of what everybody gave in, and I'm pleased. I'm pleased. Um, what's next? If you guys haven't done so already,
Hello.
hey, if you guys haven't done so already, today is pantry.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead. Mhm. Yep, go ahead. You can ask a question.
I didn't get to take the test
Okay.
on Tuesday. Can I retake it?
Yeah. You just gotta reschedule with me. That's all. Yeah. So
Okay.
you have my schedule online, right? On WC. You guys can schedule to come in and take it anytime, right? In person though. So for example, today I'm going to be tutoring, but I'm going to be tutoring online. So we can't do it there. So it has to be in person. So that's Monday. Um, Tuesday is not really great. I wouldn't recommend Tuesday, but I do have an hour on Tuesday. But Monday, Friday, Saturday, one of those 3 days, just come in and we can knock it out, and then that's it. And those particular days I happen to just be there the entire day. So just book the appointment, come in, and when you come in, just let me know, like, hey, I'm here for the test, and then I give it to you and all that. Okay.
Can I come in on Tuesday?
You can. It's a little tight though. So for Tuesday, I'm gonna be in at 12, right? You have to be there at 12 though, because I'm there from 12 to 1, and then we have our class right after, right?
Okay.
So you would have to be there at 12 on the dot to start. But if it's like
Um,
Monday or Friday, whenever you're comfortable, come in because I'm there the whole day.
what are the days you said I can come in? You said Monday, Tuesday.
Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do I tell you beforehand, like if I want to do Monday?
Just go online and book me. Go online and book me on the remember that website. Just or Google this. Sorry, get out of that. Google BCC and WC online. So that's how you can book an appointment for tutoring, and then just look for my name in particular when I'm in person, right? So you want to look at the in-person tutoring. I'm there Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. All right. So just book whatever hour you can or whatever, and then boom. The only thing that I would tell you about it is let's say let's say you book to see me at 7 p.m. on Monday night, for example, right? So that would mean that when you get there, you only have an hour for the exam. You know what I'm saying? So if you want like more time, right? Then book me middle of the day or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it. You can use your calculator. You can use I have a formula sheet that I'll give to you. All right, there you good to go. Yeah. So other than that, does anybody have any questions that they'd like to go over? Anything from the homework? Everybody staying on top of their homework, right? Today we're going to be talking about factoring trinomials. Last time we spoke about the greatest common factor. All right, I'm going to review that a little bit, just a little bit. So any questions? Any at all? I'll give you guys a minute to come up with something if you're looking for it. I'm not sure. All right. Well, if there's no questions, let's get into it. All right. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a review before we jump into anything more. All right. All right, so just quick recap. So I want to factor this, right? Now, the first thing that we always look for, right? The first thing we always look for is our greatest common factor, right? Call that GCF, right? And then we want to look for, what I'm looking for is a number and variable that goes into both terms over here, both terms, right? So now I have the 6 and I have the 15. What do we think it would be a greatest common factor for this? Let's look at the number
Three.
3, right? I like that. 3. That sounds like a good factor. And then let's look at the variables. I have y cubed and I have y squared. What do you think is a good factor there?
Six.
Between the y cubed and the y squared. All right, no biggie. Remember that we always choose the one that has the lowest power, right? So our factor will be 3y squared. And then remember, after we figure out what our greatest common factor is, it's like we divide by it, right? So 3y squared, divide by 3y squared. All right, 6 divided by 3 is 2. Y cubed divided by y squared is just y. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. 15 divided by 3 is 5. And these y squares will cancel out. This is my factor right here. All right. And then just a real quick recap. If you didn't see how we got that factor, here's an easy way to do it as well, right? I have 3y cubed, right? So what I can do is I can break it down to its basic prime factors, right? So this is going to be what? 2 times 3 times y times y times y, right? And I can do the same thing with the 15y squared. This becomes what? 5 times 3 times y, right? And then what I'm interested in knowing for the factors, right? I want to look at where they at the repeats, right? Like the number or numbers or variables, whatever, that's in the first term and in the second term. For me, that happens to be these right here, right? 3yy and 3yy. This is the 3y squared. This is what I can factor out, right? So I can factor out the 3y squared, and I'm left with what? The 2y and a -5. Right? The negative just came from the minus that's in the problem, in case you're wondering. All right, is it clear?
You have another one?
Yeah, that's just the first example. Yeah, we're just doing a little light review, real quick. Right, here goes another one right here. Now you might see 3 terms, but the concept is the same. The concept is the same. What's the greatest common factor here? What do you guys think? So it has to be something that's going to go into all 3 terms. We can start off with the numbers, then we can work on the variable after. So what goes into 4, 36, and 8? What do we think? 4, 36, and 8.
2, maybe?
2. Okay, that's good. I like that. And I agree with that, actually. 2. What else?
4, 2.
4.
Yeah, 4.
4, that's good. Right? That's a better factor. So 4, and what about the variable? What variable do we think?
8.
A. Very good. Now, there's actually another piece to this I didn't mention before, right? So I'm mentioning it now. The real factor for this is actually -4a, right? The reason is because the sign of my leading term is the sign of my factor, right? The sign of my leading term is the sign of my factor. So because the leading term in this situation is a negative, my factor will be negative, right? So now let's look at what I'm left over with. Let's look at what I'm left over with, right? Remember what I'm going to do. I'm going to divide by the -4a. Divide by the -4a. Divide by the -4a. And what's left over? So I have -4 divided by -4. You already know what's going to happen with that, right? Boom. And then a to the 3rd power divided by a is going to leave back what? A to the what power? What do we do to exponents when we divide? What do we do to their powers? What's that operation? It wasn't just a topic for the first test. This topic comes back and comes back and comes back. All right, we subtract the powers, right? Top minus bottom. In this case, 3 minus 1, which is 2. All right? I have a positive divided by a negative in the next one. This is going to be negative. 36 divided by 4. What's that? Okay, 9. Very good, very good, very good. So I have 9. And then a and the square will cancel out, leaving back just a. A negative divided by negative is a positive. 8 divided by 4, we know is 2. A's will cancel. And then that's it. This would be my answer. All right, questions on that? Just doing a little light review, All right. I think we get the gist of that one. Let's look at this. We're still on the same topic of factoring right now, right? And we're doing a light review of greatest common factor. So here, I have two terms. This is a term, and this is a term, right? I have two terms, right? I want to factor out the greatest common factor. So what's the greatest common factor here? It's the y plus 7. And now what's left over when I factor out the y plus 7? All right, so y plus 7 and the y plus 7. So when I factor those out, what's left over? The 3y minus 4. This is my answer right here. That's my factors. Questions on that? Right, simplify. Yes, yes, yes. Let me let you guys try one. I'm gonna let y'all try one real quick. Let's try that out. I'll give you guys a minute to try that. Nope, it's on. I was just giving you guys a minute to try the problem. All right. So let's take a look at the answer. I don't want to factor this. So I'm going to factor out the greatest common factor, which in this case is the m plus 3. All right. And when I factor that out, what am I left with? 4m minus 7. This is my answer. Questions on that? Anyone? This make sense? All right, let's keep it moving then. So the next thing I want to talk about is factor by grouping. All right. It's going to be real quick. Little review. So when I have a polynomial that has 1, 2, 3, 4 or more terms, right? We group them, right? Now, how do I group it? I'm going to draw a line down the middle. I have a left group and a right group. On my left group is xy plus 3y. What's the greatest common factor there? Y. And what's left over? That's going to be the x plus 3. Second group, I have the 2x plus 6. We're going to factor out the greatest common factor, which is plus 2. When I do that, I'm going to divide each one by 2. What's left over? X plus 3. All right, greatest common factor now. Factoring that out, I have the x plus 3. And what's left over? The y plus 2. All right. And then that's my answer. Oh, hold on, I forgot to. Okay, now we're good. And then that's my answer. Any questions on this? Anybody? All right, you guys try. Try one. Try it out. All right, y'all, try that out, try that out. All right, let's take a look. So this is factor by grouping. I have xy plus 8y plus 3x plus 24. I want to factor this, so I'm going to draw a line down the middle to group them, right? I have a left-hand group, a right-hand group. On my left-hand group, I want to do the greatest common factor. We have xy plus 8y. What do they both have in common? They both have y, right? So it's like I'm dividing by y, like I'm dividing by y. Y's cancel, what am I left with? X plus 8. On my right-hand group, I have 3x plus 24. They both have a positive 3 in common, so I'm going to divide by positive 3. So what am I left with? X plus 24 divided by 3. I think that's about 8. Now, the greatest common factor in this, is it binomial? No. Yes, it is a binomial. Yeah, right? Because this is a term and this is a term, right? So greatest common factor here would be the x plus 8. And what's left over? Y plus 3. This is my factor. Questions on this? Anybody?
Yeah, you could do the last part again.
Sure, sure. So what I'm doing here, right, is I'm looking at this polynomial right here. I'm looking at what they have in common. They both have an x plus 8 in common. So I'm going to factor that out, right? So by factoring out the x plus 8, again, that's like I'm dividing by x plus 8. Like I'm dividing by x plus 8. Right? By factoring that out, what am I left with? I'm left with y plus 3. And then together, that's my factor. That makes sense?
Where'd you get the y though for the y plus 3?
Y plus 3. Okay, so that's what's left out on the inside, on the outside right here. So this is the y, and this is the plus 3. So when I factor out the x plus 8, they cancel out. And then the y plus 3 is just left by itself. So I put that together there.
All right, that makes sense.
All right, cool, cool. All right, so that was a nice little review. I don't remember if last time I got a chance to show you guys the notes on this, so I'm gonna give y'all a minute just to look that over. This is the instructions on how to do factor by grouping. Step 1, group the terms with the common factors. We do that by drawing a line straight down the middle. Step 2, factor out the common factor in each group, right? And step 3, factor the common factor from the expression. And then step 4, check by multiplying the factors. So we didn't check this, but if you were to multiply these out, you'd get back to the same answer. That's what that means. All right. Give you guys a minute to look that over. And after you take a look at it, I'll give you another couple, maybe like 2, 3 minutes. Try this out. This is 2 questions. There's an A and a B here, right? Perfect. Okay. Let's take a look. So I'm looking at question A, which is x squared plus 3x minus 2x minus 6, right? I want to factor these by grouping, so I'm going to draw a line down the middle, right? Let me change my color real quick. All right. On my left-hand group, which is the x squared plus 3x, greatest common factor there is what? X. What's left over? X plus 3. On my right-hand group, I have negative 2x minus 6. Remember what I said, though. The sign of my leading term is the sign of my factor. So this is negative 2. All right? So what's left over? I'm going to divide each of these by negative 2. Now, negative 2 cancels out, leaving back just x, right? A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 6 divided by 2 is 3, right? Greatest common factor again out of the expression, right? We both have a x plus 3 in common, and what's left over? X minus 2. Questions on that? Any questions? Awesome. So the next test, the next test is not for a while. It might even be in November, to be honest with you. Yeah, the next test is a little while out. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at the next one. I'm gonna change my color. All right. So I have 6x squared minus 3x minus 4x plus 2. So we're gonna group these together. So what do I have? Right, greatest common factor there, I believe, is gonna be the 3x. All right. So now 6 divided by 3, 2. X squared divided by x is x. 3x divided by 3x is just negative 1. And we have negative 4x plus 2. I'm going to divide that by what? Negative 2, right? Which will give me a positive 2. Hold on. Looks good. All right. So I would get hold on, a negative. Let me say it right. A negative 2 will be my factor. Leaving back, what's this? 4 divided by 2 is going to be positive 2x and then minus 1. All right. Now, greatest common factor, 2x minus 1. All right. And then we have the 3x minus 2 remaining. And this would be my answer. Questions on that? Anyone? All right. There's no questions. I don't want to hog all the fun. I'll let you guys try one. You guys try. Sorry about that. Oh, freezing on my end. Oh, hold on a second. There we go. Sick. Can you guys see that? I want you guys to trying to get y'all to get it bigger, but it's like not responding to me. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, you guys. There you go. Try that out real quick. Sorry about that. All right, let's take a look. So I have x squared plus 2x minus 5x minus 10. I want to factor these, right? want to factor these. So I'm going to draw a line down the middle, right? Now I have a left hand group and a right hand group, right? Left side, right side. On my left hand side, I have x squared plus 2x. Greatest common factor there is x. What's left over? X plus 2. Right hand side, I have negative 5x minus 10. It's going to be greatest common factors are negative 5. What's left over? X plus 2. And if you're wondering how I did that, I just divided by negative 5. Divided by negative 5. That was it. And over here, we're just dividing by x. Right? Greatest common factor from this expression is going to be the x plus 2. What am I left with? X minus 5.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
So you see like how in the beginning you divided x squared by x and 2x by x.
Correct.
Wouldn't the x's like cancel themselves out?
Yep, exactly. These cancel and this cancels. Right? That's why I
So
get.
how you end up with 2x's down there?
So the bottom x's that you see right here, that's this x.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And then since that x is squared, it leaves you with 1x.
exactly.
All
Exactly.
right. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And then on the other side over here, I have 20x squared minus 16x minus 15x plus 12. Draw a line down the middle. I'm going to group these. I have 20x squared minus 16x. The greatest common factor there, I'm thinking, is like 4x. And then what's left over, right? So it's like I'm dividing by 4x. I'm dividing by 4x, right? So the x and the square will cancel out. 20 divided by 4 is just 5x. Over here, x's cancel out. 16 divided by 4 is just negative 4. Right-hand side, I have negative 15x plus 12. Thinking about like a negative 3. So it's like I'm dividing by negative 3, dividing by negative 3, right? Negative 15 divided by negative 3 is like 5. And then x. And positive 12 divided by negative 3 to give you a negative 4. Greatest common factor one more time. I have 5x minus 4. What's left over? All right. Box that in. And that's it.
You can run through that last part again. All right, so I get how you got where you got with the second part, but the last part.
Last part. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at the two terms up above. Right? So I have the 4x times 5x minus 4 and the negative 3 times 5x minus 4. I'm dividing each term by the 5x minus 4. By the 5x minus 4. Right? And then that means that on the outside I have a 5x minus 4. And what's left over in the numerator, I have 4x minus 3.
Okay. I seen it last time, but now I see it again. All right,
Yeah. Yeah. Not so bad, right? All right, let's take a look at what I really want to get into today. Factoring trinomials. All right. So we're going to start off simple, right? Trinomials are the form x squared plus bx plus c. Let's start off simple. All right. Before I get into that, just to recap real quick. Right? If I have x plus 2 times x plus 3, right? And I were to distribute that, which is another word of multiplying it, I get out the product, which is x squared plus 5x plus 6. But remember, what I want to do in this section is I want to give you the product, the x squared plus 5x plus 2, and then you factor it and give me back the factors, which is the x plus 2 times x plus 3. So that's what we're doing right now. All right. So if I have x times m times x plus n, and we were to distribute it out, it would come out to x squared plus mx plus nx plus m times n. Right? All right, let's get into this. I'm going to give you a trinomial. Trinomial. So that means that I have how many terms? 1, 2, 3 terms, right? So here's my method for solving this question. We want to do the AC method. So the AC method goes like this, right? All questions that are trinomials are of the form a x squared plus bx plus c, right? The method that I'm using is called AC method. So I start off with a times c, which in my case is going to be what? 1 times 24, right? All I care about is a number in front. I do not care about sorry, let me say that again. A times c is going to give me 1 times 24. Yep. So all I care about is the coefficients. That's the word I was looking for. All I care about is the coefficients, the numbers that are in front of the variables when I'm doing this, right? So I have a times c is equal to 1 times 24, call that 24. And then I have b, which is the middle term, is equal to 11. Now, what I want to do is I want to think about a way to get two numbers that when I multiply them will give me a 24, but when I add them together will give me an 11. Let's think about this. So say I do 2 times 12. Well, that's 24, but 2 plus 12 is 14. It doesn't work, right? How about 6 and 4? No. Yeah. 6 times 4. That's 24. All right. That's just flat 20. 10. Almost there. It's not 11, but almost there. 24. Any ideas? Thinking 3 and 8. How about that? 3 times 8. That'll give me 24. 3 plus 8. That'll give me 11. That's the one. That's what I'm looking for. So now let's rewrite what we have. We have x squared plus 3x plus 8x plus 24. Right? And then I want to factor this by grouping. Right? Oops, sorry. So I have my left-hand group, right-hand group, x squared plus 3x. Greatest common factor there is x. Leaving back x plus 3. Over here, greatest common factor is plus 8. Wait, not 8. Yeah. And that leaves back x plus 3. Greatest common factor again, x plus 3, x plus 7. Okay. Whoops. Where does 7 come from? That's an 8. And then that's it. Is any questions on this? This is how you factor a trinomial using the AC method. Let me let you guys try one. All about the factoring. Try it out. All right, let's take a look. I have q squared plus 10q plus 24. Right? Remember, all of these start off as ax squared plus bx plus c. And all we're doing is we're plugging in the numbers into the formula. So our formula is a times c, which in our case is going to be 1 times 24, which equals 24. And our b term is 10. So two numbers that multiply to give you 24 and add up to 10. I'm thinking about 6 and 4. And 6 plus 10, excuse me, 6 plus 4, I'm sorry, excuse me, is equal to 10. Right? So let's rewrite this now. Now I have q squared plus 6x plus 4x plus 24. Right? I want to group these. Greatest common factor on the left-hand side, I have q squared plus 6x. I'm just factoring out. Ooh, hold up. Why did I say x? These should be q's. Sorry about that. 6q and 4 cube. Q, excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay, left-hand side, what do I have in common? I have a q. Now, what does that leave behind? Q plus 6. Right-hand side, I have a 4. Well, hold up. Check that. 24. Got you. Okay, so I have 4. What's left over? Q plus 6, I believe. Yep. And then greatest common factor there, Q plus 6. What am I left with? Q plus 4. Questions on that? Any questions on that? None? All right. I'll give you guys a couple minutes. Take a look at this. Here's your instructions on how to factor this. So we want to factor trinomials of the form x squared plus bx plus c. Step 1 is to write the factors as 2 binomials with the first term, x and x. And then step 2, find 2 numbers, m and n, that multiply to c, which is m times n, which is equal to c, and add up to b, which is m plus n, right? And then you can have your factors, right? X plus m, x plus n. Then you can, of course, check it by multiplying, etc. All right? Now, this is called the trial and error method. I'm showing you guys this in case anybody wants to just jump ahead rather than doing all the work to factor out. But the AC method, that's going to be our preferred method of choice, right? On your test, I will not tell you or ask you what method to use. I just want the right answer. Just give me the right answer. All right. So it's up to you what method you want to use. This instruction I just gave you is for trial and error. What we did before was the AC method. AC method is like a machine. It'll work. So that's why I want to just concentrate on that. All right. But to show you the power of this trial and error method without doing all that work, all right, we have the AC method down pat, but I'm going to do this by trial and error just to show you how fast it can be when you don't use it, or when you use it. So we know that our factors are going to look something like this, right? There's going to be a y here, there's going to be a y here. I need 2 numbers that when I multiply them together will give me a positive 28, but when I add them together will give me a negative 11. So now notice that's a positive 28. The only way you can get a positive number through multiplication is if both numbers are positive or both numbers are negative. In our case, our B term is negative, so that means that both of these numbers will be negative. So very simply, all I have to look up for is two numbers that when I multiply them together will give me 28, and when I add them together will give me 11. I'm thinking about maybe 7 and 4, right? Because 7 times 4, that's 28, and 7 plus 4, that's 11, right? So 7 and 4. And this right here would be my factors, right? Is that simple. That's the trial and error method. Or you could use the AC method and get the same answer. You guys try one. Nothing crazy. Try it out. Try it out, try it out. All right, I'm gonna give y'all extra couple minutes to figure that out because I want to grab some water real quick. Be right back. All right. So let's try this one again. We know our factors will look something like this. We're dealing with u's in this situation. U's. Now, the only way I can get a positive number from multiplication is if both numbers that I get are positive or both numbers are negative. In this case, my B term is negative, so I know this is going to be minus and minus. And now two numbers that multiply to give me 18, but add up to 9. What are they? So let's see. Thinking about, how about 3 and 6, right? Because 3 times 6, that is 18, right? 3 plus 6 is 9. So I think that's it. And that's it. That's the whole answer right there. Right? Got you, got you. All right. Questions on this? Little trial and error method. Any questions? All right. Let's keep it moving. So now, right, I know that the only way to get a negative number through multiplication is if one number is positive and one number is negative, right? For this question is probably easier to use the AC method, so let's use that. Remember that all questions are of the form A. Oh, hold up. Hold up. I just realized something. All right. This question is not in the right order. We should have it in descending order. So a better question would be x squared plus 2x minus 48. Right? Now we're talking with that. Now we're talking. So let's do this one more time. Right? The only way that I can get a negative number, right, is if one number is positive, one number is negative, right? Now, I have to figure out two numbers that multiply to give me 48 and add up to 2 or subtract to 2. Let me say it like that, right? Let's see. 48, 48, 48. Not 12 and 4. That doesn't work. 6 and 8. That's it. 6 and 8. Okay. Now I have my factors here, but I don't know where the 6 and where the 8 should go. Which one is going to be the positive, one is going to be negative? The larger number, right, will go with whatever sign is in front of the B term. So this would be 8, this would be 6. And that would be my answer for this one. Questions on that? So I found two numbers that multiply to give me 48. And when I add them up, will leave me with a 2. No questions on this? You guys try one then. Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. Had a little pop-up on my end. Go ahead, you try. You tried it out. All right. So step one, let's put this in descending order. So I'm going to get m squared plus 9m plus 18, right? At that point, a little bit easier. We're dealing with m's, not x's, so m, right? Now, two numbers that multiply to 18 would add up to 6. I'm thinking positive 6 and positive 3. All right. Questions on anything? All right. What about a question like this? So when the fact that r squared minus 8rs minus 9s squared, very simply, you know this is going to be r and r, right? And then, let's see, I'm thinking about a -9, a +1. But not just that, put the s next to it. And that would be my factor. So r minus 9s times r plus 1s. S being standard deviation. Questions on this? All right, if there's no questions, you guys try one. Try that out. All right, let's try this out. Our factors will look like that. Gonna have an A and an A. The only way to get a positive number through multiplication is one is either both are positive or both are negative. In this case, they're both negative because our B term is negative. Now, two numbers that multiply to give you 10, but add up to 11, it's 10 and 1, right? And then the larger number will be negative, so 10, 1. That's it. Wait, sorry. They'll both be negative. There we go. That's it. Questions on it? Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot the B's. B on the back, B on the back. Now we're good. Questions on it? Anybody? All right. So this next example, just want to emphasize, you always want to look for the GCF first, right? Even though we have a trinomial here, we have our AC method, we have our trial by error method, the first thing you should always do is see, if possible, can I pull out a common factor? And here I can, 4x. And when I do that, remember, it's like I'm dividing by 4x, 4x, 4x. Let's see what's left over. These will cancel. This will be x squared plus 4 plus x minus 5. Yep, that looks good. And then now I could kind of fix up the inside a little bit. So this is going to become 4x times, I'm going to have x here and x here, right? So, right, I want two numbers that when I multiply them will give me 5, negative 5 in particular. And when I add them together, it'll give me a positive 4. So that means that one answer has to be positive, one has to be negative. The larger one is going to be positive. So I'm thinking about like 5 and 1 because they're prime, right? That's the only way we can multiply and get a 5. And then that's it. This whole thing together is factor completely. So what we do, search for the GCF first, and then factor in whatever way is most comfortable for you. All right, you guys try. Try that out. No problem. See you another time. Everything still is being recorded, so just watch it later on. And try your homework, please. Homework has been posted. All right. All right, let's take a look at this. Greatest common factor here. I'm looking at a 5x. Right? Divide everyone by 5x. Right? 5 and 5 cancels out. X in cube, so I'm going to be left with x squared. 15 divided by 5 is just, sorry. 15 divided by 5 is going to give me a plus 3x, because the x and the square will cancel out. Negative divided by positive is a negative. 20 divided by 5 is 4. X is canceled. Now I need two numbers that multiply to give me 4, but add up to 3, right? And in particular, we have a negative 4, right? So we know that one number is going to be x and x. One number has to be positive, and one number has to be negative. The larger number will be positive, so I'm thinking about 4 and 1, right? Right? Because 4 times 1, 4, 4 plus negative 1, positive 3. These are my factors right here. All right, let me just want to make that look a little bit prettier. All right. Questions on this one? Everybody got that? Okay. Let's take another look at the AC method real quick before we switch up gears a little bit. Keep in mind, if you don't like the trial and error, you are welcome to use the AC method. It is just as effective. It will always work. It will always work. So I have 6x squared plus 7x plus 2. Remember, our standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. We're going to do what? A times c, which in our case is going to be 6 times 2, which will give me 12. And I want to know, the b term is what? 7, right? So I want two numbers that will multiply to give me 12, but when I add them together, will give me 7, right? So I'm thinking about, how about 3 and 4? So look at this, 3 times 4, that'll give me a 12. And what about 3 plus 4? 3 plus 4, that'll give me a 7, right? And it's okay if you go through a few numbers before you figure out the set. It's totally logical. That's totally fine, right? Let's rewrite this. Instead of the 6, excuse me, I'm still going to have the 6x squared, but instead of the 7x, I'm going to have plus 3x plus 4x plus 2. Also, some people might be wondering, does it matter which order I put these two in? No, it doesn't. It does not matter. All right? You will get the same answer regardless. All right? So let's group these over here, right? I have 6x squared plus 3x, right? Greatest common factor there is going to be what? A 3x. So now I'm factoring out 3x from here, factoring out 3x from here. Now 6 divided by 3, what's that? 2, right? And then x and the square will cancel out, leaving back just x. 3x divided by 3x, remember, anything divided by itself is just 1, right? Now I have this 4x plus 2. Greatest common factor there, I'm thinking, is going to be a positive 2, right? So I'm going to divide by 2, divide by 2. And what's left over? I'm going to have 2x plus 1, all right? Now, greatest common factor between these two terms, I have 2x plus 1, right? So it's like I'm dividing by 2x plus 1, like I'm dividing by 2x plus 1, right? And what's left over? That's the 3x plus 2 that's on the outside. And then that's it. Those are my factors. Questions on this? Anybody? Any questions? All right, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. You guys give it a try real quick here. Try that out. Oops, oops. Sorry about that. Sorry. All right, try that out. Try that out. Remember, on the test, once again, I will not ask you to do any one specific method. All I care about is the right answer. So you choose which method will work best for you, and you just do that method again and again and again to get all your answers, even for homework. You're gonna have many questions for homework, right? I want you to choose a method. If you want to do trial and error, be my guest. If you want to do the AC method, do that. Right? Just get all the questions right, move on. That's all that matters, all I care about. All right. Just to recap earlier, I was saying that let's see. Today and yesterday was pantry, right? If you guys have class on Friday and Saturday, there's no class this week. Next week, Monday, right? We have a holiday. So no class, no tutoring either on Monday. Tutoring will be open on Friday and Saturday. Tutoring will not be open on Monday. Nothing will be open on Monday, and as far as the college is concerned. So don't come in, just use the day and relax, you know? If you guys need to catch up on homework, that'd be a good day to catch up on homework, but there won't be help available. That's the only thing. Then you guys know. Tuesday, when we get back, is a Monday schedule. So what does that mean? We have no class on Tuesday. I am so sad about that. I was looking forward to give you back your test that day, but that's not going to happen. So the following week, Tuesday, let me get y'all a date real quick. Let me get you a date. Let me get you a date. The following week, I'm talking about the 22nd, right? The following week, the 22nd. That's when we'll get the test back. All right. Sorry about that. I didn't realize I was expecting that we were gonna have class, but we don't. It's gonna be a Monday schedule. Everything will be going on as usual that day, so there will still be tutoring and everything. So, you guys can, instead of going to class, if you have the free time, come to tutor and do some homework, if you guys have the free time. Except for Monday, remember? Monday, right? Holiday, nothing's open. All right, let's take a look. So I want to factor this using the AC method, right? So I have the 6x squared plus 13x plus 2. Remember that all of these, oh shoot, hold on one second. Okay, remember that all of these questions, right? These trinomials in standard form come from the general formula ax squared plus bx plus c, right? And in my method, I want to do a times c which is equal to what? 6 times 2, which in my case will give me 12, right? And my b term is 13. Now I want two numbers that when I multiply them together will give me a positive 12. When I add them together, it'll give me a 13. So I'm thinking about 12 times 1. That is 12. How about 12 plus 1? Look at that. That's 13. That's what I'm looking for, right? So now I want to rewrite these, right? I'm going to rewrite these. So I have 6x squared plus 12x plus 1x plus 2, right? Now I'm going to group these, right? Draw a line down the middle. So I have a left-hand group, right-hand group. On my left-hand group, greatest common factor, what's that? 6x. Now remember, that's like I'm dividing by 6x. Dividing by 6x, right? So 6x squared divided by 6x will leave back just x, right? Because the 6's will cancel. 12 divided by 6 will give me a positive 2, and the x's will cancel here. I have positive 1x plus 2. If you don't see anything to pull out, the greatest common factor there is just positive 1. That's all it is, positive 1. And you know 1 divided by anything is itself, so this is just going to leave back x plus 2. Very simply like that. Now, the greatest common factor here, right, between the 6x, x plus 2, and the 1 times x plus 2 is x plus 2. So I'm going to factor out an x plus 2. Now, remember, it's like I'm dividing by x plus 2. It's like I'm dividing by x plus 2, right? These will cancel out, leaving back what? Just simply 6x plus 1. This is my factor. And I'm done. Questions on that? All right, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. All right, I just want to reiterate real quick. I want to reiterate something to you guys, right? Whenever we're doing these factoring questions, the first thing that we got to look for is the greatest common factor, the GCF. So let's look at this question right here. I have 10y squared minus 55y plus 70. Yes, I can go ahead and do this straight up. But the better way to do it is to look for the greatest common factor first. Looking at all these numbers, excuse me, I can tell that 5 will go into all of them. So 5 should be pulled out first. Now, if I'm pulling out 5, remember, it's like I'm dividing by 5, dividing by 5, dividing by 5, right? Now, 10y squared divided by 5, that should leave me back with 2y squared. Then I have negative 55y divided by 5. That should leave me with a negative 11y. And then I have a positive 70 divided by 5. What's that going to be? Let's see. Do a little math right here. 5 goes into this once. That's 5. That's 2. Bring that down, right? That's 4. That's 20. Yeah, sometimes we gotta keep up with those skills, you know? So then that's what? Positive 14. How about that? Right? Now that I have this, I can go straight into my AC method, right? Go straight into your AC method. Once again, remember, let's do black. Once again, remember that this comes from the formula ax squared plus bx plus c, right? So in our situation, what are we going to have? We're going to have a times c, which is going to be 2 times 14, which is equal to 28. And then what do I want to do with that? I want my b term, which is equal to negative 11. So I want two numbers that when I multiply them will give me a positive 28. When I add them together, will give me a negative 11, right? So I'm thinking I kind of like 14 and 2, but that's not going to work, right? Because if we did, oh, by the way, that's negative 11, right? So the bigger number is going to be negative. So if I did negative 14, actually, wait, no, I'm lying. Both of these numbers are going to be negative. So if I did negative 14 times negative 2, That'll give me the 28, but negative 14 plus negative 2, that's not going to work. That's negative 16. Let's keep going down the line. How about 6 and 7? Let's try that out. So I'm thinking about a negative 7 times a negative 6. Wait, that don't work, right? That's 21, that's 42. No. Let's try it again. Negative 7, and how about negative 4? That sounds better, right? 7 times 4. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So that's positive 28. Now let's see negative 7 plus negative 4, right? Negative 7 plus negative 4, that's like negative 11 right there. There we go. That's it. That's it. That's the thought process. That's how we get through this, right? Let me switch this up real quick. Let me get okay, I never really use this color. Let's try this out. Right? So I have the 5 on the outside that hasn't left me. I'm gonna rewrite what I have on the inside. So I'm gonna have 2y squared, but now I'm gonna write the factors that I found. So negative 7y, right? And then negative 4y, right? And then plus 14. There we go. Right? There we go. Now after that, let's get a little orange going up in here, right? I want to group these together, right? So let's work on that group that we have right now. Let's get that BCC green going up in there. So I have 5, right? Now, greatest common factor on my left-hand group. My left-hand group is a 2y squared minus 7y. I'm going to factor out the y there, right? And remember, it's like you're dividing by y, 2y squared divided by y, that's just 2y. Negative divided by positive is a negative. Y's cancel out. This leaves back just 7. Awesome, right? Now I have negative 4y plus 14. I want to do the greatest common factor there. I think that's going to be like what? Negative 2, right? Let's check that out. So remember, it's like I'm dividing by negative 2. It's like I'm dividing by negative 2. Also, let me also say this. The reason why I have negative 2, the sign of my leading term is going to be the sign of my factor, right? Remember that? Sign of my leading term is the sign of my factor. That doesn't change. So I have negative 2. So negative 4 divided by negative 2 is going to give me a positive 2y. And a positive divided by negative is a negative, and 14 divided by 2 is 7. So there we go, right? So now what do I want to do after that? I want something fancy. I'm going to get this one right here, right? So now what I want to do after that, the 5 is still on the outside, right? I'm going to factor out the greatest common factor here, which, oh, hold up. Let me try that again. I'm going to factor out the greatest common factor here, which for me is going to be that 2y minus 7, right? The 2y minus 7. These will cancel out. So I have my 2y minus 7 down here. And what's left over? The y minus 2. This is my factor. Questions on this? Moral of the story. Greatest common factor first, and then, right? And then we go into our AC method. All right? Let's keep it moving then. Let's keep it moving. I'll give you guys a minute to try this one out. All right, you guys know the secret. Always look for your greatest common factor first and then go into your AC method. All right, take a minute to do that. Take a minute to do that. All right, let's take a look. So I got 16x squared minus 32x plus 12. I'm thinking about a number that could go into all of them. I feel like 4 can. Let's try 4. Let's try 4. So I'm going to factor out of 4. So it's like I'm dividing by 4. It's like I'm dividing by 4. It's like I'm dividing by 4, right? Let's look at what's left over. 16 divided by 4, we know is just 4. It's going to leave back x squared. All right, a negative divided by positive is negative. 32 divided by 4, ooh, what's that? 16 and a half of that. I think that's 8, right? 8x. And then 12 divided by 4, I feel like it's just 3, right? All right, let me check that. Yep. All right, that looks good. That looks good. So now that I've factored out the greatest common factor, let's go into the AC method. Let's go straight into that AC method, right? Just real quick, just to recap, right? Remember that for the AC method, we start off with our standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c, right? Just so that we know where the numbers are coming from, right? So I'm going to do what? A times c, which in my case is going to be what? 4 times 3. Let's call that 12, right? And what I want to know, right? I'm going to do the b term, which is equal to negative 8. I want to know what are two numbers that when I multiply them together will give me a positive 12, and when I add them together will give me a negative 8, right? So I'm thinking about negative 6 and negative 2, right? Negative 6 times negative 2 will give me a positive 12. Negative 6 plus negative 2, that's negative 8. That works, right? And again, when you're doing this on your own, it's okay if you go through a couple of numbers and you can't see it at first. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Just keep working, keep trying it, right? So now we have 4 times, I have 4x squared minus 6x minus 2x plus 3. All right. Once again, for the terms in the middle, it does not matter the order that you put them in. All right. It does not matter. All right. I'm just doing what's convenient for me. All right. After we get our 4 terms, we're going to group them. All right. Let me come down a little bit. Okay. We're going to group them. So now what do I have? Actually, wait, let me get another color. How about purple? So I have the 4 on the outside, right? Now, what's the greatest common factor between the 4x squared and the negative 6x? I'm thinking about 2x, right? I'm thinking about 2x. So now remember, it's like I'm dividing by 2x, like I'm dividing by 2x, right? 4 divided by 2 is just 2. X in the square will cancel out, leaving back just x. A negative divided by positive is a negative, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. X's will cancel. Right? I'm looking at the second term now. I'm looking at the second term. What should I do? Let me keep it as that. I'm looking at the second term. I have negative 2x plus 3, right? The greatest common factor there is going to be what? It's actually negative 1. When you don't see anything to pull out, the factor is 1. All right? When you don't see anything to pull out, the factor is 1. In this case, it's going to be negative 1 because the sign of my leading term is the sign of my factor. Once again, right? Same thing. So now it's like I'm dividing by negative 1. It's like I'm dividing by negative 1. That being said, what am I left with? I'm left with 2x minus 3. And there you go, right? Greatest common factor again. I want something nice now. Let me get that orange. So I'm going to have 4. Factoring out the greatest common factor, and this one is going to be the 2x minus 3, as well as the 2x minus 3. When we factor those out, I'm left with the 2x minus 3 on the bottom. And what's on the outside? 2x minus 1. This right here is my factor. All right. Questions on that? Anybody? All right. There's no questions. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. All right. The next thing that I want to show you guys is a little bit of, so these are a little bit of tricks now. I'm gonna get a little bit tricky now. I'm gonna get a little bit tricky. I want to stress though, if all you take away from this lesson is the AC method, right? You're good to go. You're good to go. You can go straight into your homework. You can do everything. What I'm about to show you is a handful of tricks, right? That if you see a certain type of question, you can apply these tricks to it. But this trick does not work on every single trinomial. AC method does. Okay? Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. All right? This is going to be some special cases. All right? So this is called the perfect square trinomial pattern. So if a and b are real numbers where a squared plus 2ab plus b squared is going to be equal to a plus b squared. And also if I have a squared minus 2ab plus b squared, it's going to be equal to a minus b squared. Let me show you what I could do with that. So we want to factor perfect square trinomials, right? So some trinomials are perfect squares. They result from multiplying a binomial times itself. We squared a binomial using the binomial squares pattern in previously, right? So remember when we had the 3x plus 4 squared, right? And then we broke that down to be 3x squared plus 2 times the a term, which was 3x plus times the 4 plus the b term squared, right? Which gave us the 9x squared plus 24x plus 16. That was the perfect square trinomial, right? We're trying to go in reverse now, right? We're trying to go in reverse. We're trying to get back to the factor of it. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Give y'all a nice example. All right. So let's say I want to factor this. I have I have 9x squared plus 12x plus 4. 9x squared plus 12x plus 4. Now, what do we know? What do we know? I know that 9x squared is a perfect square. Yes, it is. It's a perfect square. So this is just what? 3x squared, right? Boom. And this 4. I know that the 4 is a perfect square. What is that? That's just 2 squared, right? And in the middle, even though it doesn't matter, I'm still going to show you. This is 2 times the a term, which is 3x, times the b term, which is 2, right? The middle doesn't really matter, right? All you need to know, what is my factor? Your factor is very simply 3x, right, plus 2 squared. Or put another way, is 3x plus 2 repeated. 3x plus 2. Right? That's the factor of this one. Right? Either one of these answers is the factor, but I more prefer this answer, to tell you the truth. That's it. That's the trick. That's the trick. Does this work on every single trinomial? No. This only works when you have a perfect square trinomial, right? A perfect square trinomial, right? In case my handwriting is a little ugly, just show you guys this. Emphasize a little bit. So we had the 9x squared plus 12x plus 4. We know that we could turn the 9x squared into 3x squared. We could turn the 4 into 2 squared, right? And that's how you get back to the middle term. 2 times the first term, the 3x, times the second term, the 2. All right. Good stuff, good stuff. I'm gonna let you guys try one real quick. I'll let you guys try one. I'll give y'all about a minute. You guys should be able to just like kind of do this in like 2 seconds. Again, this is a trick. Doesn't work on everything. Right? I'm just showing y'all some tricks for your homework in case y'all Trying to speed through it. I got you. All right, let's take a look. So for the 4x squared, right? I can break that down into what? 2x squared. For the 9, you break that down into what? 3 squared, right? And very simply, that gives us an answer of what? 2x plus 3 squared. And that's it. That's your answer. All right. Once again, this is a trick, right? It's okay if you just want to use the AC method. You'll come back out with the same answer. Not a problem. Not a problem. All right. All right. Well, let's talk about something real quick. Let's make a special note. Let's make a special note. All right. So the sign of the middle term determines which pattern we will use. When the middle term is negative, we use the pattern a squared minus 2ab plus b squared, which factors to a minus b squared. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at that. So let's say I have this factor right here. I have 81 y squared minus 72y plus 16, right? You already know the trick, right? This is going to get broken down. This is going to be 9y squared. This is going to get broken down. This is going to be what? 4 squared. But look at this. There goes that negative. So what do I have when I put it all together? I'm going to have 9y minus 4 squared. And that's my answer. It was literally that simple. Literally that simple. Remember also that what that means is that this is repeated. Just want to emphasize that again. So that literally means 9y minus 4 times 9y minus 4. That's what that little 2 means, that we're squaring it. And that's it. That's all that is. I'll let you guys try one. I don't want to hog all the fun from you guys, right? So I'm going to let y'all try one real quick. Give y'all a minute or so. All right. Feel like that should be good enough, right? Y'all remember the trick? I'm gonna break this down. What does this become? This is 8y squared, right? And then what's 25 become? That's just very simply 5 squared. And then let's look at our sign right here. Our sign is negative. So what does that become? Final answer. I have 8y minus the 5, right? 5 is there. The 8y is there. Let me do that a little bit better, right? And then squared. And that's my final answer. All right. Is there any questions on this? Anybody? Please, like slow me down, stop me if I'm going too fast. All right. You guys are welcome to ask questions, no problem. All right, awesome, awesome. All right, here we go with this. So I want to factor this one now, right? This is the same game, right? It's just that I have a little variable on the end, but it's the same thing. Don't fret, don't fret, don't fret. I got 36x squared. What's that going to become? We already know that's 6x, right? Squared, right? And then I got this positive sign right here. You already know what's going to happen with that. And I have 49y squared. What's that going to become? 7y squared, right? So now, let's look at that final answer. 6x going to go right here. 7y going to go right here. Bring down that plus sign, right? Bring down that plus sign. Squared. There you go. That's my answer, right? Let me write that over here in case you can't see it with all the arrows and stuff. It's like this. All right. That's it. Simple, simple, simple. Again, this does not work for every single question. This is a very, very special case, right? When we have perfect squares in our trinomials, right? This is called a perfect square trinomial. You have a perfect square in the beginning, a perfect square in the end. You guys try. All right? Perfect square in the beginning, a perfect square in the end. All right? All right. Once again, if you guys need help, go to tutoring. Be happy to help anybody. And if you can't work with my schedule, there's other people there with other schedules that maybe you could work with. But please, please come through. Let's get this done. All right. All right. I feel like that should be good enough, right? Same trick as before, right? pull this down. That's 49x squared. You already know this is going to become what? 7x. And then we're going to square that. 36y squared. You already know what this is going to become. This is going to be 6y. And then the square. Positive number right here. Gonna bring that down. Let's look at our final answer. So 7x is gonna go here. All right. Bring down that plus sign. 6y is gonna go here. Close parentheses, squared it on the outside, and I'm done. There goes my answer right there. Questions on that? It's making sense? All right. Let's keep it moving. Even though this is starting to get a little simple, right? I still want to emphasize. Right? When you guys get these questions, don't just jump to it. Don't just jump to it. Look for the greatest common factor. All right. Let's take a look at this one. I got 100x squared y minus 80xy plus 16y. Now, it might look like we can't do this, but we could do this. Right? We can do this. We can do this. We could factor out the greatest common factor. What's the greatest common factor here? I don't know. I'm looking at it. I'm kind of thinking that it might be 4y. I'm not sure, but let's see. I feel like it's 4y. So now remember, if I factor out a 4y, it's like I'm dividing by 4y. It's like I'm dividing by 4y. It's like I'm dividing by 4y, right? Let's take a look. 100 divided by 4, what's that, 25? And then the y's will cancel, leaving back just x squared. And then a negative divided by positive is a negative, right? And then 80 divided by 4, what's that, 20? And then the y's will cancel out, leaving back just x, right? And then 16 divided by 4, that's what? That's positive 4. And then the y's will cancel, and bam. Look at that. That's not so bad, right? And you already know what's going to happen, right? So I have my 4y right here that's coming down with me, right? Now we're gonna use our little trick, right? This is a perfect square trinomial because 25x squared is perfect, is a perfect square, and 4 is a perfect square. So this is just what? 5x. Oh, you see our b term is negative, minus 2, and then squared. There you go. That's the answer. And I'm done. That's simple. That's simple. All right. Yep. 4. And then that's it. So moral of the story, always look for your GCF first. Always look for the GCF first, right? Let me let you guys try one real quick. These are tricks. These are tricks. That's all these are. These are tricks. And if you believe tricks are for kids, then stick with the AC method. It will work. It will work. It will work. It will work. All right. Just trying to help y'all speed through the homework if you want to. Mm-hmm. A question on that, anybody? All right, let's take a look. I got 8x squared y minus 24xy plus 18y. I'm looking for a greatest common factor here. I'm thinking. Could it work? Could it work? I'm thinking about 2. Thinking about 2. How about 2y? Let's try that. Let's try the 2y. So it's like I'm dividing by 2y. It's like I'm dividing by 2y. It's like I'm dividing by 2y. By the way, whenever you're trying to find the greatest common factor, it's okay if you pick a smaller common factor than what the greatest was. Just do it again until you get the biggest one. Good to go. So anyway, 8 divided by 2, that's 4. Y's will cancel, leaving back x squared, right? A negative divided by a positive is a negative. 24 divided by 2 is 12. Y's will cancel, leaving back just x. Now I have 18 divided by 2, which is plus 9, and the y's will cancel. Boom. Right? So now, what do I want to do? Bring down that 2y, right? And you already know what's going to happen. Perfect square trinomial, right? This is going to be a 2x right here. That's going to be a 3 on the end. In the middle is negative. So boom, negative n squared. And there we go. That's my answer. That's my final answer. Questions? Anybody have any questions on this? This makes sense? It's just a little trick. Just a little trick. If it's something that you don't agree with, you can always go back to the AC method. You will get the same answer. All right. All right. So let's wrap this up a little bit. We spoke about a polynomial with many terms. We spoke about today a trinomial that has 3 terms. Real quick and fast, I want to talk about what happens when you have a binomial, which is 2 terms, right? Let's take a look, right? This is going to lead us to the difference of squares pattern, right? Oh, this is real simple. So if a and b are real numbers, where a squared minus b squared will be equal to a minus b times a plus b. Difference means subtraction. So a squared minus b squared, right? And these factors will be conjugates, meaning one is negative, one is positive. Very, very simple. Very, very simple. Let's take a look real quick. Let's take a look. All right. I'm gonna show you guys. So let's say, for example, right? I have a minus b times a plus b. Let's say that it was 3x minus 4 times 3x plus 4, right? If I put them together, that becomes what? 3x squared, right? Minus 4 squared, which leads us to 9x squared minus 16. Remember, I want to go from 9x squared minus 16 back to the 3x minus 4 and the 3x plus 4. That's the goal. That's the goal. Right? Let's try it out. Let's try it out. So check this out. I want to factor 64y squared minus 1. Right? That's 64y squared minus 1. We know that this is actually what? This is 8y squared minus 1 squared. We know that already, right? So our factors are going to be what? Our factors are simply just going to be 8y, 1 and 1, except one of them is positive and one of them is negative. There you go. That's the whole answer. We're done. That's it. That's the difference of 2 perfect squares, right? perfect square, right? Difference. That's it. Difference of two perfect squares. That's the factor of it. Let me let you guys try one. Here you go. Try that out. Try that out. Try that out. That's 121 m squared minus 1. Try that out. All right. I feel like we probably did this one. So let's take a look. 121 is just 11 m squared minus the 1 squared. That's all it is. That's all it is. So what does that mean? Here's my factors right here. We already know, right? This is going to be 11m and 11m. This is going to be 1. This is going to be 1. One of them will be positive. One of them will be negative. That's it. That's my factors. I'm done. Questions on that? Any questions on that? All right, let's keep it moving then. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. All right, I'm gonna show you guys something scary. Let's make it a little bit scary, right? Halloween's coming up. Let's make it a little bit scary. So I got 144x squared minus 49y squared, right? This looks scary, but we know what to do already. We know what to do already. We know that this is what? This is 12x squared, right? Minus, what's that? 7y squared. So you already know what's going to happen, right? You already know what's going to happen. Boom, 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 right? So I'm going to have 12x here, 12x here. I'm going to have 7y here, 7y here. One will be plus, one will be minus. That's it. All right? Boom. It's that simple. That's simple. That's all it is. All right? Questions on that? A little scary because we had a variable in our second term, but that's okay. The variable is going to be in both the answers. That's all that means. Are we good? All right, let's keep it moving then. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Got two more things to show you, and then we can call it a day at that. Just two more things, two more things. But first, I want to just give you guys an opportunity to try. Give you guys an opportunity to try. There you go. Awesome. I'm glad it's easy. I'm glad it's easy. All right, let's take a look at this one. Not too bad, right? Oops, I'm sorry about that. Let me try that again. Okay, not too bad, right? So this is what? 14m squared minus 5n squared. So you already know, already know what's gonna happen, right? Boom, 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 right? Here goes 14m. Here goes 14m. We have 5n. We have 5n. One will be positive, one will be negative. And no, it doesn't matter which one you make positive or negative. It's the same thing. Boom. That's it. That's simple. That's simple. But again, I really want to emphasize, right? Whenever we're dealing with a question and it's asking you to factor, you must look for the greatest common factor first. You must look for the greatest common factor first. So let's take a look at this. Oh my Lord, that's challenging right there. That's challenging right there. I'm gonna struggle with this one. I'm gonna struggle with this one. So let me see. I have 243. I'm just looking at that. I'm gonna. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right, so let's look. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. Right. So I know, just looking at this, that 243 is divisible by 3. So I think that might be my greatest common factor. So I'm going to factor out a 3, right? And they both have y squared in it, right? So I'm going to factor out the y squared. Boom. Let's see what's left over, right? So I'm factoring out a 3y squared, and I'm factoring out a 3y squared, right? So now 48 divided by 3, what's that? Ooh, I can't even remember right now. What's that? It's not 12. Is it 16? Might be 16. I'm gonna cheat a little bit because in the interest of time. Yeah, that's 16, right? So 48 divided by 3 is 16. Y squares will cancel out, leaving back x to the fourth, right? Bring down that minus sign. Now 243 divided by 3, let's see what that is. 243 divided by 3. Boom, that's 81. So I have 81, and the y squares will cancel out. Not so bad, right? So I have my 3y squared, right? Now you already know 16x to the fourth, 81, those are perfect squares. Those are perfect squares right there. So we already know what's going to happen, right? That's going to be what? 4x squared, 4x squared, right? And then I'm going to have plus 9 minus 9. There we go. There we go. But let's take this. I'm going to take this to another level now. I'm going to take this to another level. So I have a sum of perfect squares right here, but I have a difference of perfect squares right here. So what does that mean? I can still keep going. I can factor that more. So this is going to become what? 3y squared times 4x squared plus 9 times, let's factor this out. This is going to be what? 2x minus 3 and 2x plus 3. All of this is my answer. All of that. All right? So that's how we do that one. Moral of the story, look for the greatest common factor first. All right. I do see the time, and I know I don't want to keep you guys here too long. You guys have enough homework to practice from. Real quick, before we wrap it up, I just want to show you guys something. All right. Before we wrap it up, this is just a little general strategy. Right? It's a little bit of a recap and a general strategy of how we go about doing things, right? So whenever we have a factoring question, the first thing that we should be looking for, the very first thing is the GCF, right? That's the first thing that you look for, right? GCF. After that, I want you to count how many terms you have, right? If you have a binomial, that means that you have 2 terms, right? If you have a trinomial, that means you have 3 terms. And if you have a polynomial, right, that just means you have more than 3 terms. But for us in this class, we're just going to call that 4 terms. But just understand that it doesn't have to be 4. It could be 5. It could be 6 and stuff. That's going to be further on down the road. So now we talking about pre-calculus and stuff like that, right? But you guys will get there. Don't worry. All right, real quick. Let's recap. Binomial, right? So when I have a difference of squares, difference being the minus sign, right? My factors will be a minus b times a plus b. For the sum of squares, right? The sum of squares, you do not factor that, right? Going right back up to this example right here. I had the sum of squares right here, and notice I didn't factor it in my final answer. It stayed right there, right? So the sum of squares cannot be factored. Only the difference of squares can be factored, right? And don't worry about this. I'm not going to ask you guys any of that, right? For the trinomial, right? If you have x squared plus bx plus c, you can use, right, the trial and error method, right, where you have x and you just have to figure out what's going to go next to it. Or you can use the AC method. AC method will work for everything. AC method will work for everything. We did talk about the perfect squares. These are the perfect squares right here, right? There again, those are tricks. Those are tricks. They only work when you have a perfect square trinomial, meaning that the first term is perfect and the last term is perfect, right? They only work in that scenario. AC method will always work, all right? Again, just trying to help you out with the homework in case you're trying to speed through, right? Last but not least, anytime you have 4 terms, we use grouping, right? 4 terms, you split it in half. You have your left-hand group, your right-hand group, greatest common factor, boom. And then that's how we do it. Any questions? Any last-minute questions from anybody? Anything? All right, well, I'm going to take the silence as everybody understands everything, right? The recording will be up. Give me a hour or so, maybe a little bit longer to post that recording, right? Yep, basically just find the GCF. Yep. So yeah, give me some time to post a recording, but the recording will be posted next week Tuesday. Next week Tuesday, no class, right? Next week Tuesday is a Monday schedule, right? Next week Tuesday is a Monday schedule. On Friday and Saturday, there are no classes scheduled, but tutoring will be open in case you want to come in and or online and you want to take advantage of support. On Tuesday, even though it's a Monday schedule, tutoring will be open if you guys want to join. Monday, right? We have a holiday. Monday, tutoring is not open. Okay? There's no tutoring. The college campus is not open either. You can't come in and use the library, none of that. All right. So Monday, that's your day to relax. Tuesday, we back on our grind, right? With the Monday schedule. So whatever classes you guys go to on Mondays, that's what you're gonna go to on this upcoming Tuesday, right? Wednesday, everything goes back to normal. All right. Apologize. I'm not gonna get your test back to you until the 22nd. Sorry about that. Scheduling challenges and difficulties. Next time we meet each other will be on the 17th online, the same kind of format. Via Zoom, just click the link in Brightspace. And that's that. Pantry was this week, right? So no pantry next week. And then the week after, when we get in our test bag, that'll be the week of pantry. All right. I guess that's it. So have a great weekend, everybody. Have a happy holiday, everyone. Enjoy the parade, enjoy the food, everything. And I'll see you guys soon. All right. Have a good night. See you soon. See you soon. Yes, enjoy your weekend as well. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, talk to y'all soon.